Welcome to the realm. I'm taking Grace. If you want to learn how to use Unreal Engine and have a blast doing it and truly become a skilled game developer, then you're in the right place. Today we kick off a massive, highly requested series building a professional grade Escape from Tarkov style inventory system in Unreal Engine 5.7. We aren't just copying and pasting nodes here. We're diving into the theory and the data architecture required to build a system that actually works in a real game. Let's look at where we're going. This project is so comprehensive that I've broken it down into 4 distinct modules. To start, we have Module 1, which is the core inventory logic. We'll create the grid components and widgets, and by the end, you'll have a fully functional inventory. You'll be able to drag items around, equip and unequip key items, and query placements of items in the space puzzle inventory commonly seen in extraction shooters like Escape from Tarkov and Delta Force. This is packed into 12 episodes covering everything from creation to testing. Moving on to future modules, Module 2 will have multiplayer integration and the looting system. Module 3 is where we'll create the hub area, stash management, crafting, and persistent loadouts that follow you between levels. Finally, in Module 4, we'll do procedural generation, creating unique, random item spawns for endless replayability. Before we dive in, I want to give a few disclaimers to manage expectations. We are focusing strictly on an inventory UI and item system. We won't be building weapons, character movement, or complex health systems in this series. So if you're hoping for a full-on Tarkov game, not quite. We're just going to be doing the inventory. We're almost ready to get started. A quick heads up that this is a late beginner to intermediate tutorial, so if this is your first taste of Unreal Engine, it might be hard to follow, but if you're up for the challenge, then let's go! First, I'm going to tell you guys how you can get the best and most out of this series. First of all, how do you get help? Well, since this is a super technical build, if you get stuck, the first step is to join our Discord. Make sure you use the Unreal Engine help forum and post screenshots of your blueprints. I also will be launching the official Taken Grace website soon, which will include a dedicated community forum. I'd like to ask you to please don't put any complex tactical questions in the YouTube comments. It's much easier for me to help you if I can see your screenshots in the Discord. We also have a ton of positive and engaging members in the Discord that can help you if I happen to be not available. I'm also hosting 2 massive live streams specifically to help you troubleshoot. The first one will be on April 11th, 2026 after episode 7, and the second will be on May 23rd, 2026 after the finale. Next, let's talk about debugging, or as I like to say it, debuggage. I've read a ton of comments telling me that you love seeing how I fix mistakes, so I'm making it a core feature. So when you see a purple banner on screen, it means that we hit a bug and we are in debug mode. And it'll show you which bug we're currently working on. Since you'll have context of the project, it'll be much easier to learn and follow along to see how I debug. You shouldn't take action during these times as I'll be trying out theories and talking through my thought process. However, when that banner turns orange, means that the issue is fixed and you should take action in your projects. This way, if you don't want to watch the debug sessions, that's totally fine. You can skip to the fix. Just make sure that you watch all the fix portions of the video to make sure your projects get all the bug fixes. I've marked the debug and fix portions as chapters for your convenience, and I highly recommend you watch the debug time to learn how to use the widget reflector and the blueprint debugger. Also keep an eye out for these colored banners as well. I can make mistakes, or perhaps while recording I give incorrect information or ask a question out loud, and editor me can add context, flag bugs as I create them, and give warnings so you can stay informed and minimize your debugging. I'm offering this entire high-quality course for free, which is made possible by our 6 sponsors. You'll see a 60-second spot in the middle of each episode featuring products that actually help developers. And finally, if you want to binge the entire Module 1 right now without waiting a week before the uploads, consider becoming a Noble member or higher on my website. Members get early access to my videos, project files, and the top tiers even get a monthly one-on-one session with me. Okay. We're here to master the inventory, the heart of any extraction shooter. In a Tarkov system, if your structs aren't perfect, the inventory will break. In this video, we're going to be setting our framework, creating all of our data assets and structs, and importing assets. Without this video, you will not have any data required for the rest of the project, so before we get started, check the description below for the free assets. I'll go over them in the video, but let's get this awesome series underway. All right, welcome guys. Really excited to get started with this series. Took a lot of time to get it prepped and working, but and there's a lot of new stuff to learn. I learned a ton of stuff making this series, so I want to pass it on to you guys now. So let's create a new project. It'll be a first person, and it'll be called Tarkov Inventory System. YouTube, because I think you can only have 20 characters or something like that. So okay, we'll hit create. And the project files for Module 1 are already finished and uploaded to the Google Drive, which is only available to members. So if you guys want to finish the series, if you're watching this right now in kind of like February, March kind of area, the series isn't fully out yet. So if you want to finish it all up, you can look into the membership tiers and join the membership today. But anyways, today's video is going to be basically getting all of the data in the framework set up so that we can focus on actually getting the inventory working and we don't have to look at any of that kind of stuff again. Okay, and I'll explain stuff, what it's going to be used for as we go. So let's get started with the framework. Okay, so first let's make a new folder called framework. And what we're going to do is we'll go into the first person blueprints, and we're going to move our controller and our game mode to the framework folder because that's what they are. And then it's going to say that it's been baked or cooked, blah, blah, blah. We don't care. Okay. Okay, so next we'll go back into our framework folder. We'll make a new blueprint class. And this will be we'll go to all classes, will be player state. Okay. Select. And then we'll just call it BP player state. Okay, next one, we will make another blueprint class and go to all classes again, and we'll type HUD. Okay, and we're going to make a HUD class. So majority of these are in C++ by default, so we want to obviously make them so that we can edit them in blueprints. Okay, so BP HUD class, and then we'll make one more blueprint, which will be all classes, and it'll be a game instance. So the game instance is the only class that persists across levels. Everything else is destroyed every time you change levels. So the game instance is just going to hold data that if you didn't have a level, then you would want it in the game instance. So like this is player settings, display settings, all that kind of stuff that would go in the game instance. And then like the odd thing, like one thing we're going to put in there is the unique ID, which I'll explain about in a little bit. But anyways, so now that we have all of those made, we need to actually set those in our game mode. So we'll open that up, and then here we want our player state to be our BP player state, our HUD to be our BP HUD. We'll hit save and compile. And one thing we're going to check off right now is we're going to click these three dots, save on compile always. Okay, so if you crash, you're not going to lose a whole bunch of work. It's only going to be the what you haven't compiled since the last compile, basically. So we'll hit compile, and we need to set the game instance in the project settings because the game instance is not in the game mode because the game mode is destroyed when we change levels. So they have the game instance class in the maps and modes. So we'll go to game instance and we will do BP game instance. Okay. Let's import some of the UI assets first. So let's go a new folder and we'll do UI, open that up, and one more folder called assets. I've provided all the assets you're going to require for this project in the Google Drive link in the description below. It'll be in the description for all the videos, but you shouldn't have to import anything else after this video. So anyways, so open that up. Okay, so there's so this is what you're going to find in there. You don't need to import the size grid or the X coordinate grid because I just have those there for your guys' reference. This is the affinity file that I created them in. So if you guys want to edit these images or create your own images, which if you're going to actually make a commercial game, I recommend because I ripped these straight from the Tarkov wiki website. So probably not safe to use those in a commercial project. But anyways, I'm just going to open Affinity. Affinity is free. Okay, so you guys can download that if you want to edit any of the images or do anything for UI in your game or anything like that. Okay, I'm just going to show this briefly. I know this is not Unreal Engine related, but if you guys were going to make your own images, Affinity is great. It replaces Illustrator, it replaces Photoshop, and then InDesign. That's what the layout is. So Vector is considered like the Illustrator, basically competitor slash. It's just way better. Pixel is the Photoshop equivalent, and Layout is the InDesign equivalent, and it's just like literally. It's free and it's just as powerful as those, and you don't support Adobe's garbage anymore. So I highly recommend. So basically you're going to get your images in here. You're going to remove the background, which you can use a site called Crayon. So I literally screenshotted all these straight off the wiki, and then I went to crayon.com whatever, and then you go to remove background. Then you're just going to paste your screenshot there. It's going to remove the background for you, and then you can just drag it straight into here. Okay, so if you wanted to make more items for this tutorial series, by all means, go right ahead. But we've only created these ones, or pardon me, I've only created these ones for this because it's going to essentially satisfy the requirements that we need for this system without, creating too much work for us. So, all right, so what you need to do when you're creating your own, so the slots that we're going to be dragging around on are going to be 64 pixels by 64 pixels. Okay, so you just need to make sure that you line up your item on however many slots you want to take up in the inventory. And then you need to draw a box, just literally a rectangle, right? Around the object that's going to cover the exact amount of spaces you want it to take up. Okay. And then obviously make sure that that border has no fill, no stroke, is basically completely invisible. And then you're going to group them together. You'll basically highlight the image and the border, and you'll push Control G. That will create a group just over here. Okay. That's all done. Everything else, just to, by the way, should be oriented on the X axis. So just like this tank is, it should be filling all of this X width first. Okay. So you can see that these two items right here, my backpack and my tank, I have done that on. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure when we're rotating the item that basically we're going to be checking the X width first to see if we can place an item. And if we can't place an item, then we're going to check the Y like width next, and it will rotate the item. So if you don't have them oriented this way, it's going to look funky visually, even though all the data is technically correct. Okay, so when you're done that, you just come up to slice. You're going to come over to export layers. You're going to find the group or all the groups that you want to export. And then you're going to just come down here to create slice. It'll be highlighted, but I have a slice created for all of these already anyway. So, but that should be available if you have not created a slice yet. Then you're going to go to slices. You go to export preset single PNG. And you just go down there and make sure all of these say PNG, and ×1 is just going to mean it's going to export at the size that you've set it at. If you want to export additional sizes, you just hit the plus there, but not necessary for this. When you're ready, you can select all of them and you can go export slices. Okay, and you'll bulk export all of those slices into whatever folder that you choose. Okay, so if you're going to do custom items, that's how you do it. Okay, so just make sure that it's going to follow this kind of thing, or else your inventory system is going to look really funky. Okay, I'm going to talk about this in right now, actually, the XY coordinates. While I have it on screen. So when we make our grid, we need to assign coordinates to every one of our slot BG widgets. This is literally going to be one widget each. Okay, so this would have, what is it? This looks like it has 9 by 4, so that's 36 widgets. And each one of these is going to be checking specific things. Okay, so we can get into that more in the future video when we actually create the grid, but this is what the coordinates are going to look like. So when we create our coordinates in the next video, you're going to want to create all of the rows first. So you'll create row 0, which is the X, and then all of the columns in that row. So 0, 1, 2, that'll be the Y coordinate. Okay. And then if we have a grid that is higher than one row, which likely you will, then you're going to go down to the next row and you're going to add 1 to the X coordinate, and then you're going to run all of the Y coordinates again. That's how it's going to build our grid. Okay. So that's how it works. Okay. Now that that's all out of the way, let's create our stuff. So yeah, we'll select everything except for the grid, the size grid, and the affinity file, and we'll drag everything else into our folder. We are going to right click and go to asset actions, edit selection, and property matrix. Okay, so we need to change the where are you? So the texture group, which I don't see, usually it's right here. Interesting. I'm sure it'll show. Oh, here it is, texture group. We're going to change that to UI, and then the compression settings we're going to set to default. Okay. And then make sure that the sRGB is checked true, because if you don't, all of your items are going to look washed out, which I'll show you right now. There, so they look all washed out there because you don't have that checked off. So just make sure that that is checked off. Just wanted to show you guys that just in case it looks weird. Okay, so we'll hit that, we'll hit save, and then when we open them all, they all look normal. Okay, don't worry about the squished stuff. It's just squishing it for the thumbnail for the content browser, but if you open it up, it's going to look normal. Okay, so all right, let's create all of our data now for this project. So let's make a new folder called data. Okay, first let's make a struct. So we'll go blueprint structure and call it s_index coordinate. So like I just showed you guys, the entire system is going to be based off of these coordinates. Okay, so we need to, I'm just creating a structure just for ease of use. This is just going to be X, which is an integer, and Y, also an integer. Okay, that's it. Save, just because we're going to be using those together all the time, so it just makes sense to combine them into one struct to save your graph some mess. Okay, I didn't do this in my prep project, but I will do it here because do something new, and then when it goes wrong, we'll figure out how to debug it. Okay, so we'll do enumeration E_item rarity. Okay, we'll open that up and we'll do common. So this is going to control basically the color of the grid slots after the item is placed. Okay, so yeah, again, I didn't do this. I wanted to do this in the prep project, didn't get around to it, and I'm like, I'll just do it live because I like doing stuff live anyway. So common, uncommon, rare, and then we'll do unique and legendary. So for those who are new to my channel, I like to keep in basically everything that I do on here. The only things I cut out in editing are me going or you know, silences or whatever. There might be a couple uhs in there somewhere just because I can't cut it out without it sounding stupid. Like, you know, I'll probably cut that one out, but anyways. So yeah, I keep all of the mistakes in. I will let you guys know that there's a mistake coming up with like a little banner, just like this one I'm going to put on screen now. That'll let you guys know that I've made an error, or this error is going to cause like a colossal issue later. That way you guys can learn from the mistake, learn how I debug it, and then learn how to debug it on your own. Another thing I want to mention is we're going to be using the Blueprint debugger a lot in this series because this system is very hard to debug because a lot of the widgets don't exist until you've already run them, and then all the things that you want to check to debug you can't, you know, add a breakpoint on because they don't exist yet, and the breakpoint won't get triggered. So yeah, the Blueprint debugger we're going to be using a lot to be checking values between our components, between our widgets, between our player state, all that kind of stuff. So you guys will be super familiar with how to use this Blueprint debugger by the end of the series. Okay, so we're going to keep on going with our stuff here. We'll make one more enumeration, e_item type. Okay, this is going to determine what our items are and if our item is accepted into specific grids or not. So we're going to start off with none, and that's going to make our life easier later when we create maps, because when you create a map, you go to add an array to the map, and then it always adds the first item in the enumeration. And if you have duplicates, it won't let you add another version of that. So this is just to kind of make our lives easier with that. So we'll do first aid, large weapon, and this is going to be basically any item in the game, any item type in the game that you're going to want, including key items. Okay, so these large weapon sidearm, those are going to be key items. Another key item will be the vest, and then the backpack and a safe box. Okay, so those are all key items. We're going to be specifically checking on our key item slot if our key item equals this, right? Actually, sorry, I lied. Just thinking about it, we're actually going to use gameplay tags to check if the item equals the same item. This is just to keep track of what type of item it is and if it's going to be allowed in specific inventories. My apologies. But yeah, that's we'll basically create a map, and the map will be this enumeration and a bool. And then every one of our grid components, we're going to put a map in there, and we're going to check off what this particular component allows. So if you have a fridge, maybe you only want food items in there. If it's like a weapon crate, you're only going to want weapons and weapon parts in there, right? So this is where you can control all of that kind of stuff. Okay, and then we'll add some general loot. So we'll say like part, you know, like a weapon part or something like that. And then just general loot. Loot. Do food. Actually, to be honest, I don't think I use most of these in here. Actually, yeah, the items we have, it's literally not going to fit into some of these categories, but that's fine. We'll do ammo. Basically, anything that you want to add into your game item-wise, you can put in here. Key, like a key item, or not a key item, pardon me, like a key card or something like that for doors. And that's looking like it's going to be it. So, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna point out opportunities for you guys if you want to make more stuff for this project. However, like I said, I'm trying to keep it like as small as possible, but you know, at least large enough where we can test this system extensively and make it actually work. But I will let you guys know if you want to, there's opportunities for you guys to increase some stuff in your game or add some variety to it. Okay, now we're going to create our primary data asset for our items. Okay, if you guys are unfamiliar with with data assets, it is my preferred method to use for inventories. So yeah, we're going to do all classes primary data asset. Okay, and we'll call it PDA. Item data. The reason I like data assets is because I can literally click on an item, and if you have the data asset instance editable, you can literally tell it, I want this item. And there's just no questions asked. With the data tables are also a valid option for inventories. A lot of people use them, but I just find it easier to have to just select a data asset that's actually named instead of having the name for your object. And then it's like, if you don't remember the name, you got to like open the data table and look at the name and then copy, you know what I mean? It's just like extra work. And if you're not doing the inventory stuff, like if say you have a level designer and they want to put a chest out with some items in it, they can just click on the chest, set the data assets, and you're good to go. With you know, if they're not familiar with blueprint code or something like that and they see name, they might spell it wrong or whatever the case is, right? So I don't know, it's just a fail-safe way. I prefer data assets myself. So Anyways, we've created the data asset. We're going to open that up, and we're the way they work, if you're not familiar, is we're going to have data in here that we can reference separately from blueprints. You can actually generate blueprints specifically from data assets and keep all of the things unloaded until we actually need them. So they're really, really handy. Okay, so in variables, we're just going to do name, which will be a name, obviously. New one for an image. So this is an example for something that we don't want to be loaded into memory until we actually need it. So we're going to do a texture 2D soft object reference. Anything in a data asset that is an actual item inside your content drawer. So this texture 2D would be, if I compile the blueprint, you can see if I can choose the drill. The frill, the drill. So I can choose this is an actual blueprint object in my content drawer that I can point to, right? So though this is something that needs to be loaded into memory. Something like a name is just a variable. It's just data that's not loaded. It's just referenced, right? So that can't become like a hard reference or anything like that. But yeah, anything that is basically anything that you can change to an object reference should be a soft object reference and then loaded in whatever blueprint you're using it in when you actually access it. That just keeps the data asset separate from everything. And if you reference the data asset, you're not necessarily loading any of this stuff. Yeah, it's not a hard reference. Just do that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set number of slots wide, and that'll be a integer. This is going to control obviously how many slots the item takes up in the grid. Okay, so that's what that is. We'll compile. Next, we will do our item type. So we'll say item type, and that's E underscore, come on, item type. We'll do item rarity next. Item rarity. Next, we'll create a Boolean called can rotate. So if this item is basically a square, we're just going to not check this off, and it's just going to save us checking later. We just check the data asset. Can it rotate? If not, then we don't bother checking rotation. Okay, so we'll hit compile. We also are going to add can stack, which is also a Boolean. And then if it can stack, what is the max stack size? And that'll be an integer. That's just basically going to be for our ammo, or if you added some other stuff in there that can stack, then you can change that here. Okay, the next thing we're going to add, one thing I'm going to mention also for ammo, you could go back to the primary, or you could, in this primary data asset, add, ammo caliber. What I would do in that case is I would create another enumeration and just create all of your different ammo calibers. And then I would set that here. I would change that to whatever the enumeration is. And then you can keep track of what the caliber of your ammo is. If you're going to get really complex with your ammo system, I'm not doing that in this series. I'm just showing you how to do the inventory. But that's where you would add it. And then when you pick up ammo, it's just going to check what the caliber is and then create a new item if it's a different caliber than the ones you have, right? So anyways, so we're also going to create grid type, and this is going to be a gameplay tag. Okay, this is going to control, this is specifically for our vest, our backpack, and our safe box, the stuff that's going to have subgrids that you can actually drag items to. Okay, so when you drag it into a key item, it's going to check, hey, what is the grid type that we're creating that's a part of this key item? And then after that, it's going to check and it's going to say, okay, this is a backpack pocket. Cool. We're going to generate a backpack pocket specifically. Then when you're dragging items around in all your grids, then your player state's going to know based on this gameplay tag, which pocket you added it to, right? So then we're going to keep track of all that in our game state, in our player state. And then when we load the next level, which all the level loading and changing and stuff's going to be in module 3 of this series, then we're going to save what's in our backpack, and then in the next level we're going to load what's in our backpack so all of our items can go into the proper grids. Okay, so that's what this gameplay tag is going to be working for. The gameplay tag we're also going to use for key items. We're going to check, does this key item match the gameplay tag that this key item slot has, right? So we'll make those in a second. We'll just make one more variable called storage size. This is going to be if it does have a subgrid, how big is that subgrid? Okay, and that's going to be an index coordinate. Okay, so let's just go to the grid type. Let's make those gameplay tags. So we'll go to manage gameplay tags, and we will add a new gameplay tag just called grid type. Okay, I got to select a source, default gameplay tags dot blah 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 blah. Okay, add new gameplay tag. There it is. We're going to right click and create a sub tag, and we'll call this large weapon. And once again, sidearm, and right click, add sub tag backpack. Another one, add subtag vest, and one more grid type called safe box. Okay, we're gonna right click pack and add, whoops, can we undo that? Okay, yeah, so I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, I right clicked too fast there. So anyways, grid type dot backpack dot pocket. Okay, safe box, same thing, add a subtag, and it's gonna be pocket. And vest, add subtag, pocket. So I know in Tarkov and a couple of the other extraction studios like Delta Force and stuff that implement this, the vests have like 3 individual pockets. However, I was having a really tough time dividing them out into their own things. I think probably the solution to that would be making maybe more pockets, like pocket 1, pocket 2, whatever, and then just adding however many pockets there are. But yeah, I was having a tough time doing that, so I abandoned the whole idea, and we're just gonna have one for the vest, unfortunately. So anyways, so our gameplay tags have been created, so we're gonna close this, and I believe we are just oh, there's one more data thing we got to make before we make the actual data asset. So we'll make a another blueprint struct. We're going to call this s_inventory item. Okay, let's open that up. There's a lot of things that we're going to be accessing about an item specifically that we want to store in this struct so that it just makes our lives easier. Okay, so the first thing is going to be our item data. Okay, so PDA underscore item data object reference. Okay, so hit save. So just remember that we made this an object reference, but everything inside the data asset that can be pointed to is a soft reference. So if you're pulling out the item data, we're not necessarily loading what's in the item data itself. Okay, the next one we're going to do is called occupied coordinates. And this is just going to be to keep track of what coordinates this specific item is taking up. And it's going to really make our lives easier when we're like clearing coordinates and setting new coordinates and blah, 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 blah. So this is going to be an index coordinate as well. And this is going to be an array. The index coordinate is going to be basically the Google Maps of everything, right? So what slots are what in what grid and blah, 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 blah. So they're going to be really handy for us. Anyways, we're going to add another variable, which is going to be amount. You want to keep the amount obviously outside of the item data because the amount can change throughout the game, whereas everything in the item data is not changing. It's static data, right? You can change it at runtime, but it changes it for all the items you have in your game. If you have 200, of one item and you change that, if you change the amount in the data asset, for example, then it's going to change it for all 200 of those items in the world. Okay, so static data only in there, keeping the amount separate. Last one is going to be called unique ID. So this system is really complex and it's really hard to compare different items with each other. So like, for example, if I'm dragging an item to another grid, it's maybe the item I'm dragging it on top of is the same item, right? So they came from different grids, but they have the same item ID. Or if you want to remove an item from one grid, how do you know you're grabbing the right item if there's more than one of the same type of item in the grid, right? And then same thing with coordinates. If I'm dragging one item from one grid to another, they might occupy the same index coordinates in kind of the respective grids, right? So this unique item ID is going to make our life super easy. We can basically compare, is this the same item, without comparing all of this other stuff, right? And we're going to make that at the beginning of next video, the beginning inside of our game instance. We're going to create a unique ID for each item that is spawned into the world. Okay. All right. Anyway, so that's it for that. We're going to close that. And now we're going to create all of our items. This is rinse repeat, essentially. Can you open up data? Frick. Okay. Anyways, new folder. We'll call this items, and we'll move our inventory item and our item data over to here. Move here. Okay. This is going to be rinse repeat. So I'll put on screen. I'll do this the first time, and then I'll put on screen all the ones you need to make, and then we'll go into each one and just set all the data. Okay. So it'll be a miscellaneous data asset, and then we got to choose our primary data asset parent that we need to inherit. Okay. So we'll say PDA item data select. Okay, and then DA underscore body armor. Body armor is going to be our vest. Okay, so there they are on screen. You can pause the video to know which ones to make. Yeah, all you're gonna do is just push Control D to duplicate the data asset, because they're all gonna inherit from the same primary data asset, and then rename them all. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a second. One of the biggest hurdles for any indie game dev is finding high quality, royalty-free audio that doesn't sound like a generic elevator track. Epidemic Sound is the ultimate tool for your creative arsenal. They offer a massive library of world-class music and professional-grade sound effects across every genre imaginable. The best part is their licensing is straightforward. Once you're a subscriber, your content is cleared for YouTube and commercial projects, so you never have to worry about copyright strikes. Whether you're in need of a cinematic score for your trailer or a specific Foley for your gameplay, they've got you covered. Use the link below or the QR code to get a 30-day free trial of Epidemic Sound. If you decide to stay on, you're directly supporting Taking Grace, helping me keep this channel running. Elevate your project's atmosphere today. Okay, so all your stuff is created now. There's no data in them yet, so we're gonna do that now. Let's start with the 2 ammos that I made here. So yeah, ammo will just be ammo. What the hell? Where are my fingers? Not on the right keys. Ammo pistol. Okay, and the image will be the. We'll just type in ammo. Or sorry, I named them bullets in the thing. Pistol bullets. Slots wide will be 1 by 1. The item type is going to be ammo. And the item rarity will just say common for the pistol bullets. And can rotate will be false because it's a square. And then can stack will be true. Max stack size for the pistol, I think 30 is sufficient. And this is not a storage grid. A storage that's going to have a grid. So we're going to leave that blank. Okay. And then we're going to do essentially the same thing for the rest. I'll just be a little bit quicker because it's like the same stuff here. So ammo rifle. And then that's going to be, it's type bullets. AP bullets. And items 1 and 1. And then what is this? Item type, ammo. I'm going to move this over here so I'm not like looking all over the place. Okay, can rotate will be false, can stack, and max stack size will be 60. Body armor. Let's call this vest, I guess. Let's call it body armor. Body armor. Number of slots, we're going to make this kind of a big guy, 3 by 3. Item type is the vest. Item rarity, let's do rare. The item rarity can be whatever you guys want. It doesn't matter. That's totally up to you. Can rotate will be false because it's a square and we can't stack, but this is a storage. So we'll do grid type vest and storage size. We're going to do 3 by 2. Okay. You guys can do different values if you want, but it will make it harder to debug with me if it's different values. You can change them later after the series is over if you want. It's up to you, but yeah, just for simplicity's sake, I recommend just doing what I do here, just so it's the same, so it's easier to debug. All right, so drill, item slots wide, we'll do 2 by 2. Item type will be loot, I guess. And item rarity, legendary drill. It's a Milwaukee. Can rotate false, can stack false. Max stack size doesn't matter because it doesn't, yeah. Grid type is, it's not a storage type, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Okay, so we'll hit save. Health pack next. Health pack. 2 wide by 1 high. It's first aid. Common. Can rotate is true. Can stack is false. Everything else is false. Okay. Or false. It's not applicable. Large backpack is going to be a key item and a storage. Okay, so we'll say large pack. Image, large backpack. Slots wide will be 3 by 2. Yes. Item type is backpack. It will be, we'll say rare. Can rotate will be true. No stacking. Okay, so we're sorry, I had to come back because I accidentally opened grid and set the grid gameplay routes to the backpack and this one, and then it like almost deleted all of the gameplay tags. It was super weird. Anyway, so just make sure it's the gameplay tag itself. Backpack. Okay, and then the storage size will be 5 by 5. And check everything else because I had to undo some stuff to come back here. So, all right, looks good. The pistol. Pistol. I'm super excited for the new One Piece season, the live action, because like I've never experienced a live action anime that actually is good. So yeah, that one I was they made changes, but the changes made sense, you know. So anyways, where are we? We're pistol. This will be 2 by 2. Sidearm. This will be common. Not rotatable, not stackable, everything else doesn't matter. Great, okay, so next is the rifle, same thing. Rifle. And slots wide will be 5 by 2. And item type, large weapon. This will be rare. Can rotate, everything else doesn't matter. Okay, safe box. And safe box. 2 by 2. This will be safe box, and we'll say this is unique. Can rotate true, and this is a storage. Sorry, can rotate is false. I said true for some reason. Can stack is false. All the stacking is false, but the grid type is going to be safe box, and it'll be a 2x2 grid. Okay, 2 more. Small pack, which is another key item. Small pack. Anyways, small pack. Then we got small backpack. There we go. This will be a 2x2 as well. Backpack. This will be common, sure. Can rotate will be false. Can stack false, but its grid type will be backpack. And this will be a 4x3. Okay, and tank. The only reason the tank's here is just because it's an oddly shaped item, so it'll really help us kind of figure out the rotational stuff. Okay, tank. And number of slots wide 3x1. Item type will be loot, I guess. Common. Have we done... We haven't done uncommon, I think. I think we've done one of everything now. So anyways, can rotate will be true. Can stack, everything else is false. Okay. All right, so that's all the data that we need for this project. And that's our foundation. We have our data assets and our framework ready for the heavy lifting. Next video, we are building our grid component, so make sure your project is saved and you're ready to code. If you want to learn some more, you can watch these videos up here until the next Tarkov video comes out, and don't forget to subscribe. Special thanks to my Royal and Sovereign members. If you want to join the realm and get access to the rest of the courses right away, visit my website, takinggrace.com, to learn about memberships and join a great community of game devs who all want to get better. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, I'll see you in the Discord. If you're a Noble member, I'll see you in episode 2 right now. As always, keep learning till you game over. Peace.